Hey, Sonny here. Today I'm going to go over and talk about this really cool riff by Straits. Martin Knopfler, outside of metal, is one of my favorite guitar players in terms of just a very good blues country player and very melodic. You know, he's rock stuff with Straits, just legendary. So, anyways, Money for Nothing and the beginning riffs. Uh, there's some lessons on the song on the intro, but I was thinking about just want to do another one for myself. So let's go over it. First thing, let's talk about the hand. Um, what I would use your hands and don't use your pick, and mostly is focused on two strings when he plays the riff. So when he plays the two string, he usually covers with the index finger and the middle finger of the right hand. It's always the middle two string, the D and G, for the most part. So use the again, index finger, middle finger, plug it. So he plugs it up with his index middle finger. He he picks down with his thumb. Changes. Okay, so that's basically that's the really important part, to get the rhythm down with those hands. Something like that. And the sound, I have my tone about halfway down on my roof gain. There's two knobs. There's the volume knob, and there's a tone knob. Most guitars have a tone knob, which I find very useful. I don't like guitars with no tone knobs at all. So anyway, with the tone knob on this particular one, on this song, the way I play, I like it halfway down. I don't like my tone knobs all the way, and some people play this song with the tone knobs all the way down. I like about halfway. So just always dial down your tone knob. It just brings down the hotness of the pickup and give it more warmth to the tone, and combine with your hand. So it gets that really cool sound to it. So let's go over the riff next. Oh, before we do that, let's talk about the chords. Mainly power chords. The first chord is a G in the middle two string position. So that's D5 and G7. That's a G power chord in the middle position. So if you play a G at the low E position at the 3rd fret, we just do the same thing at the middle two string at the 5th fret position. Again, you have use your two fingers, index finger, middle finger. He also has the perfect 4th interval, which is the 5th fret of D and G. That is basically a C power chord. The perfect 4th. What I'm saying is that if you move the 5th fret on D, the octave higher, play the 8th and play the 8th note on the B string. So that's a power chord. It's a C power chord. Or you can do this C power chord at the 3rd fret position. So that's basically just again just the two notes, 5th fret D and G. That's also the 3rd fret of D and G together. That's basically a B flat power chord. We just play the perfect 4th interval. And then you have the open D and G, and you guessed it, that's the G. That's basically a G power chord. So you got the G at the open D and G position, You got a G again at the 5th position. Okay. He also has the besides that, there is also a G minus 7th. Or actually, you can call it the interval is basically is a D minor interval, D minor third. So that's the 7th fret on the G string and the 6th fret on the B string. So it's a D minor third interval. And he also has this chord right here. He plays a G chord at the pinky on the 8th fret, and then you have that's another way to play a G chord, G power chord with the additional G note on the 8th fret. So that's pretty much the chords to the intro. Okay, here's the beginning part of the intro. Alright, so slow down. Okay. Start off on the G power chord, as I say, at the 5th position. D5 and G7. You pluck that twice. Use my index finger and my middle finger, pluck it upward. And the next part, so that's the G7, the D5 G7 power chord, and then the 5th fret on the D and G, and back on the G power chord. So just the 2 notes in the middle the middle 2 string. So far we have this. Next part. So the next part is the you pluck upward with your index finger, middle finger on the G7 and B6 together, and you pluck downward with your thumb on the 5th fret on the D string. All right. So far we have this. Okay, the next part. Okay, what I'm playing is I play again the G power chord, D5, G7, and then you play the 5th fret of the D and G twice, 3rd fret D and G once, and then you do the thumb down. Mute, and then upward on the open D and G, and then down thumb muted on the string on the D. It's kind of got a muted sound to it. So far we have this. Slow down again. Okay, the second section goes like this. After you get to you will go. Let's see what I do right here. You go open D and G again, and then 3rd fret D and G. And then just the D note with your thumb down, and then D and G up, and then B flat power chord, which is 1st fret on the A string, 3rd fret on the D string. You pluck it with your thumb down and index finger up. You you slide up to a third fret, which is a C power chord, but you don't pick it. You just slide up and you dead stop it, and then you pick it. Just a two note, A3 and D5. The next part, you play the third fret on a D and G, open D and G, and you play the harmonic on the 5th fret on a D string. What I mean by harmonic is that you will place your, I use my ring finger, place in between 5th and 6th fret where the wire is, and you slightly touching the D string, between slightly touching the D string, and you pluck it down with your thumb. You kind of test it out which is better for you to get the best harmonic out. So you can try to pick it downward here, but for me, it seems to get the best result when I pick it, when I do my thumb down on the close to the neck pickup. See where my thumb is? It's right on top of the pickup on the neck. And I pick it down. As soon as I pick it down, I'll release my hand. So you're just barely touching the string. Okay. So far we have this. Okay, the next part, so that's the first section. Okay, after you play the 5th harmonic, the harmonic on the 5th fret, you go back to the beginning, but it's slightly different. It plays like this. Okay, so what I'm doing is I play G power chord at the 5th, D5, and G7 again. Twice, and then 5th fret D and G, and put your ring finger back on the 7th fret on the G, play the power chord again, and you pluck on the with your thumb on the 5th fret on the D string, and then you play the 5th fret, and then you play the 7th fret of G and 8th fret of B together, upward with your index finger and ring finger. And then 5th fret on the D string, single note down again with your thumb. So far we have this. Slow down again. Next part on the 5th fret D and G. Put your ring finger on the 7th fret on the G and play that G power chord. 5th fret D and G again. 3rd fret D and G. You mute with your thumb down, and then you open D and G. And then you play this 4th fret harmonic, which is about 4.7, I guess. It's not, you don't put your hand on right between 4th and 5th fret. You're slightly behind the 5th fret. So if you look at my finger, it's almost like the right hand edge on my middle finger is close to the wire. So I'm not right on the wire, but I'm like a little bit to the left side of the wire. Slightly touching the string, you pluck it down with your thumb, and you let your hand go. And same thing with your harmonic. You gotta find a spot to where you want to pluck it down with your thumb and get that harmonic. The way I play it, I'll do it on the over the pickup. I do it like right between the end of my neck and my pickup. and I get that harmonic every single time I do it right here. If I move my hand down just a little bit, I just can't get it. I can get that harmonic when I do my thumb at the bottom of my neck, between the bottom of my neck and the neck pickup. Okay, so the beginning of the second section goes like this, slowly again. Okay, slowly again, that part. Gotta kind of mute when you do the thumb down. And you bring it up your index finger, middle finger on the open D and G string, and then you do the harmonic on the 4.7, 4.8, whatever. Again, it's not on the wire, it's to the left of the wire on the 4th fret. Okay? Okay, and the ending of section 2 goes like this. So what I'm doing here is I play open D and G, and then down with my thumb on the D string, and then 3rd fret on the G string with my middle finger up, and then both open D and G string up with you plug it up with my index finger and middle finger, and then down with my thumb on the D string, and then play the 3rd fret of A string and D string together. Slide up and just deaden it. And you plug it again with my thumb and index finger on the 5th fret on the D and A and D. So slowly again, that second part. So that's the intro. Okay, let me play the whole thing slowly from the top all the way through. Okay, so that's pretty much the intro of the song to Money for Nothing, and the song is in variation of that. You can play a different thing as long as you get the rhythm right and continue to use those chords. You can play different things and make it sound interesting, and it's fine. So, and the chorus is a little different than that, but the chorus is basically at the 8th fret on the D and G, and goes to 8th fret of A and D. I think it goes to also F chord, which is D3 and G5. And then he goes to the G power chord at the 5th position again. Something like that. And then he goes to D power chord. And the E power chord. And it goes back to so that's the whole song. Thanks for watching.